Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Silver the Hedgehog's first boss battle. This is Iblis. Yes. I gotta say, this is exactly what I was expecting based on the flashback that we saw in Princess Elisa's memories. You know, this is definitely no fiery tapeworm, and I gotta say, this is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. You know, I get, I get a threat out of this form. You know, I have no idea what the hell was up with that tapeworm that we fought with Sonic in his story, but this is, I get more, this is what I was expecting. With that said, though, he's actually easier. Yeah, he was more pain in the ass when he was in the tapeworm, but that's not to say he has his problems as well. You know, the main gimmick here of the fight is that, you gotta grab objects with silver psychokinesis, and you have to lunge them at the armored part of Iblis's head. Yes, you would think you would have to aim at the many exposed areas of Iblis's body, but you have to intentionally aim at his head, which is armored. That is completely ass backwards, but, really nothing we can complain about this point. If it damages him, just go for it. To me, one of the biggest problems with this boss battle, and it's actually very similar to the tapeworm in that regard, is that a lot of Iblis's attacks are pretty damn drawn out. Not so much in the first half, but in the later half, definitely. But if it's not debris you're lunging at Iblis, there are times where, he'll clench his body and he'll start doing the jitterbug, and as a result, he'll start releasing all of these pieces of debris from his chest. You can grab these objects with silver psychokinesis, and you can lunge them at his head. And to me, the best way to do the most effective damage, in a short amount of time, is that when you grab multiple objects with silver psychokinesis and you're ready to lunge them at Iblis, take a breather, make sure silver is pointing directly at Iblis, and then start hitting the X button consecutively. Don't mash it, because if you end up mashing the X button while you have a lot of objects with silver psychokinesis, what's going to end up happening most of the time is that the objects will collide in midair, and they'll detonate, and you'll get nowhere as a result. See, in this case, right here, I'm going to show you what not to do. You see, well, in that case, I launched a lot of objects at Iblis at that point, but only one counted in terms of damage, and, that can happen as well, too. So, when you're grabbing a lot of objects as silver, lunge them one at a time. If the one piece doesn't do damage, lunge the other piece. You want to get the most out of your debris in order to end this boss fight quickly. Because, if you're doing what I'm doing in this fight, it tends to drag out if you're being reckless and you're not thinking straight. But then again, I really don't play Silver the Hedgehog story that much because... I'll be getting more into that later, actually. Actually, when Iblis loses the armored pieces of his head, he will start doing this flamethrower attack that can catch you off guard if you're right in front of him as he begins to do it. It's pretty impossible to avoid. So I would just stick to the left and right. Actually, okay, well that only counted as one hit, I guess. See it right there, actually. If you're anywhere near close to Iblis when he does the flamethrower attack, it's pretty damn hard to avoid. I'm surprised he didn't get hit twice there, actually. I actually don't know exactly what caused Iblis to go from this form to the tapeworm form we saw in Sonic's fight. It never really explained. And again, it's me not, taking my time. And as for I think this boss fight's gonna last just a little bit longer as a result. At this point, when Iblis is doing all these attacks really slowly, you're just waiting for him to either do his jitterbug, or, he has to, wait until he lifts up this piece of building chunk, this chunk of building, and lunge it very slowly at you. And for some reason, whenever he lifts a piece of a building, it's glowing yellow for some reason. I'm guessing it's like giving you a warning, like, look out, he's about to throw the building at you. But as we mentioned in the brain scratch one, it just looks like a giant wafer cookie. Oh, I'm going to throw this building at you. Take this. Oh, I missed. I wonder why. Yeah, it's not a very good demonic impression, but I really don't feel like doing that right now. Ooh, yeah. Come on, we were all expecting a Terminator 2 reference when we saw that. I mean, how can you not? I mean, those who grew up watching Terminator 2, myself included, you're just waiting for Iblis to give you the thumbs up as his hand is going into the lava. Come on, you can't tell me you weren't expecting near the Chaos Emerald, but let Rouge get close enough to it before telling her not to go anywhere near it. Okay, so it's time to... This is Iblis. Yeah. Giant fiery tapeworm. This is nothing as I think. It looked nothing like the flashback. I'm a tad disappointed. But maybe there's probably a reason why it's only a fiery tapeworm. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is without a doubt the most boring boss battle in the entire game because of how long and drawn out it is. In fact, what I'm showing you in this fight is the fastest way you can beat him without wasting too much of your time. You see, I already took a bit of a damage there, but let me explain this battle a bit. You see, the entire arena is filled with lava, and you have these stalactites that you can stand on safely with and wait for Iblis to attack you. Iblis every once in a while, gyrates, does the jitterbug every once in a while, and he'll summon more stalactites, which you can stand on. The point is, you have to wait until he summons enough stalactites in order to stand on these stalactites and hit this purple orb to get his attention. After that, he will do his dive attack, and before he lands on a stalactite, you jump out of the way, homing attack the face, lather, rinse, repeat. There is also times where Iblis will summon a bunch of, meteors and try and lunge them at you. That's pretty easy to avoid. The problem with this fight is that everything takes fucking forever. Everything. From the process of waiting for the stalactites to appear, him waiting to throw rocks at you, him diving at you at random, it just takes forever. If I was playing this fight legitimately without abusing invincibility frames, I probably only hit him once at this point at the fight. Like an hour and like 43, a minute and 44 seconds in, I probably would have only hit him once at this point. Because at this, it's a waiting game, and I don't want to play a waiting game with a boss battle, especially with it's unnecessarily drawn out. So the fastest way you can do it, collect some rings, purposely jump into the lava, and use that wonderfully abusive homing attack to hit the purple orb. Wait for him to jump into the stalactite, hit him, and that's it. Now, when you deplete about 3/4 of his health bar, he will no longer follow the same strategy. Now, when he starts diving again, he will immediately head for Sonic, and after that, it's just a matter of dodging the initial dive and then just hitting him one last time. So, that's his diving animation. That means he's getting ready to dive. But since this is pretty much his desperation attack, he's no longer going to go for the stalactites. Now he's coming straight for Sonic. So just move out of the way. Really not that hard. He'll become dazed and confused, homing attack the face, and that's the end of the battle. Forgot I left the load timer in. Ooh, I left 2 load times in there. Oh, I'm on a roll. Who cares? The load times between the boss battles, death and victory screen are really not that long to begin with, though they really shouldn't be there in the first place, to be honest. I mean, Jesus, not even Sonic Adventure 2 had load times between boss battle deaths and victory animations. Just, Chaos Control! And that's the end of the boss fight, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said before, the boss fight is the exact same one that Sonic had to do in his playthrough when he reached the end of Flame Core, so you're not missing anything at all. And again, if you want to make the fight as fast as possible, just jump into the lava to take that little bit of damage so you can get to the stalactites easier. And, you'll make an overall faster boss fight, because if you do that fight the legitimate way, it'll take fucking forever. Alright, ladies and ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the final boss of Silver the Hedgehog's playthrough. This is Iblis Phase 3. The title card just said Iblis, but this is pretty much the third iteration of the fight. And this looks like, a creature that could fuck me up. We saw what he looked like in the beginning of the playthrough, where he was pretty menacing looking, but a bit naked. And then the Iblis form, I have no idea what the fuck that was supposed to be. I have no idea what the fuck that's supposed to be about anyway. In this form, yeah, okay, I get a threat out of this one, especially. More than the first form, a hell of a lot more than the second form. But he's pathetically easy. And so what's the solution? We throw shit at him. Every once in a while, Iblis will materialize a lot of meteorites that you can grab with your psychokinesis and just launch them right back at him. And then he will start meditating. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, and he'll start shooting shockwaves. And sometimes the shockwaves are high, sometimes the shockwaves are low. Jump over the low ones and just stand under the high ones. It's kind of hard to judge where exactly they are, so the only thing I can recommend is that you just stay still for a little bit and get a good position where they're coming from there, and you should be fine. Actually, looking back at it, I'm guessing Iblis Phase 3 was a fan of Yoshi's Island, because I'm getting a lot of Bowser vibes. Well, baby Bowser vibes, I should say, because this boss fight's kind of similar to that. Iblis is slowly coming towards the foothold, and he's going to destroy it if you don't hit him enough times. Honestly, it's not as I wouldn't say it's as tense as the Baby Bowser fight, because if Baby Bowser got close to the foothold where you are in the first place, that's it. It's game over. When Iblis gets close enough to the foothold, he'll destroy part of it, and then he'll start backing up, assuming you use the psychokinesis on his head. Speaking of which, why does he have a psychokinesis mark on his head in the first place? And of course, one of his ultimate attacks is to throw this really large chunk of molten lava at you, but you can grab with the psychokinesis, by the way. Look, that thing is fucking enormous. Why can't I grab other large things like that in the level? That is the best part of the fight, is grabbing that huge-ass ball of fire and chucking it right back at him. I love that. But we can't do anything like that in the main game. Like in the 8 Genesis fight, why can't I grab, 8 Genesis wings with Silver Psychokinesis and, rip them out of the main area? That would be fun. And it's inconsistencies like that just bug me. But for a final boss fight, it's really nothing to write home about. I think the Ape Wyvern is a more difficult boss fight. You just hover there, use psychokinesis, and then his head explodes. What the hell did I do there? And then the meteorites fall for no particular reason. Then you just start taking your time and chuck the meteorites at his head, and that is the end of the Iblis boss fight, ladies and gentlemen. Yes! With that, we've completed Silver the Hedgehog's playthrough, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Thank God. And I still didn't get an S rank. Motherfucker.